humanity's thrice greatest. Moon worship, in fact, extended all the way to the Western Hemisphere, where ancient ziggurat temples dedicated to the moon have been found in Mexico and Central America. In English, the second day of the week still derives its name from the Anglo-Saxon worship of the moon, Monday originally meaning moon day. The moon worshippers attributed powers of fertility to the moon and looked to it to make their crops and even their animals grow. In Canaan, where the Israelites finally settled, the worship of the moon was carried on by the Canaanite tribes with the accompaniment of immoral rites and ceremonies. There the moon was sometimes worshipped under the symbol of the goddess Ashtath. Ashtath was said to be the female consort of the male god Baal, and the worship of these two frequently ensnared the Israelites during the period of the Judges. JG 2. 13. 10. 6. King Solomon's foreign wives brought the contamination of moon worship into Judah. Foreign god priests directed the people of Judah and Jerusalem in making sacrificial smoke to the sun, moon, and stars, a practice that continued until King Josiah's time. 1 Kai 11. 3-5, 33. 2 Kai 23. 5, 13, 14. When Jezebel, the daughter of the pagan king Ethbaal who ruled the Sidonians, married King Ahab of Israel, she also brought with her the worship of Baal and, apparently, of the moon goddess Ashtath. 1 Kai 16. 31. The Israelites again met up with moon worship during their exile in Babylon, where the times of the new moons were considered propitious by the Babylonian astrologers for making forecasts of the future. Isra 47. 12, 13. God's word should have served as a protection for the Israelites against such moon worship. It showed the moon to be simply a luminary and a convenient time indicator, devoid of personality. Ge 1. 14-18. At the time of their approach in Canaan, Jehovah specifically warned the nation of Israel that they should not worship heavenly creations as though they were representations of him. Anyone practicing such worship was to be stoned to death. De 4. 15-19. 17. 2-5. By his prophet Jeremiah, God later declared that the bones of deceased idolatrous inhabitants of Jerusalem, including kings, priests, and prophets, would be removed from their graves and become as manure upon the face of the ground. Curate. 1, 2. Some have tried to read into the text at Deuteronomy 33. 14 an evidence of pagan influence or a superstitious attitude toward the moon. In the King James Version this text speaks of the precious things put forth by the moon. However, as more modern translations show, the sense of the Hebrew word rendered moon here a middle dot chime is actually months or lunar months and basically refers to the monthly periods in which the fruits ripen. Similarly, Psalm 121. 6 has been held by some to indicate a belief in the idea of illness caused by exposure to the moonlight. By reading the entire psalm, however, it becomes evident that such assumption is unfounded, since the psalm rather expresses in poetic form the assurance of God's protection against calamity under all circumstances and at all times, whether in the sunlit day or the moonlit night. Stilo textoi acute miritra longo, Mordecai 431 Law Covenant. The new moon of each month is still observed by Orthodox Jews as a minor day of atonement for sins committed during the month just ended. Nisan 14, when the moon was approaching fullness, marked the time of the celebration of the Passover and also the time of the institution by Jesus of the Memorial Supper, or the Lord's evening meal, commemorating his death. Mount 26. 2, 20, 26-30. 1 Co 11. 20-26. Despite the end of the Law Covenant, some of the Jewish Christians, as well as others, tended to hold to the practice of the celebration of the new moons as well as of the Sabbath days, and so they needed Paul's corrective counsel as found at Colossians 2. 16, 17 and Galatians 4. 9-11. Mordecai Kai. 1. One who returned to Jerusalem and Judah in 537 BCE after the 70 years of exile in Babylon. As 2. 1, 2 Mordecai was a prominent Israelite and leader who assisted Zerubbabel and was distinguished in the initial genealogical enrollment of the re-established community in Judah. NE 7. 5-7. 2. The son of Jer the son of Shimei the son of Kisha Benjamin at Ez 2. 5, an older cousin and guardian of Esther. as 2. 7. Mordecai is portrayed solely in the Bible book of Esther. The book recounts his prominent part in the affairs of the Persian Empire early in the 5th century BCE. Evidence points to him as the writer of the book of Esther. Some doubt the authenticity of the book or that Mordecai was a real person. Their objection, that he would have had to have been at least 120 years old with a beautiful cousin 100 years younger, is based on the erroneous assumption that Esther 2. 5, 6 denotes that Mordecai went into Babylonian exile along with King Jeconiah. However, the Bible's purpose in this text is, not to recount Mordecai's history, but to give his lineage. Kish may have been Mordecai's great-grandfather, or even an earlier ancestor who was taken into exile. Another view, harmonious with biblical expression, is that Mordecai, though born in exile, was considered to have been taken into exile in 617 BCE, since he was in the loins of his ancestors, as yet unborn,